Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I will be sharing my game against Hielco as well as just overall what's been going on where I haven't been posting a ton recently. So um, I currently, right now I'm in first. I lost a little Elo and Zach and Broken Clock have gained some, so they're right on my tail. I'll probably play some later to try to ensure I hold first. But I hit my all-time Elo high. I'd like to hit 900 pretty soon, so that's my next goal. Yeah, I went on a streak for 35 games without a loss. I won 33, tied 2. Um, yeah, recently I haven't been quite as sharp. In my last 7, I've gone 3 and 4. This was actually one of those 7 games. This was this was a tremendous game. And Hielco is the top-rated player on. He was the top-rated player on Stratega.com, and we played 2 games. The first one was a tie, so this one was kind of the tiebreaker. And let's get into it. So he advances. He starts by advancing in the center. Takes with lieutenant. I'll move up with captain. Take that piece. So I was thinking this piece was a major. Especially, I said if he pursued me, I was going to take it with the captain, because if he pursues, then probably not a major, because this could easily be a colonel or something. If and obviously, just going down a major, just a straight major is just a massive disadvantage. I mean, especially at the higher levels, it's just really difficult to come back from that. If everyone just plays fundamental and no one forgets a piece. That's actually what happened in one of my recent games. Jakaros, he luckily snags a captain and a major in the first few moves of the game. And I mean, I have this info, but it doesn't really do me much because he's just anti-playing because he's playing me. He's completely fine with getting a tie. So I have to advance the game, and I get unlucky, and he manages to win by a piece. So you really don't want to go down a major early because you never know what can happen, even against a player you're much better than. So that's why I figured Hielco wasn't going to take that risk here, and that's why I was prepared to hit with the captain. But instead, I got the next best thing, which was discovering this piece to be high with my scout. And now I have lieutenant and major info in the center uh, at the price of only being down a sergeant. So that's good. I much prefer my position here. Now retreats. We're gonna bluff that lieutenant, I think. When when there's opposite info like this in the center, okay, and we find another major. When there's opposite information here in the center, there's captain and major, and they're not going to get out of the way. It's going to be a very closed position. Um, so nothing was going to really happen in the center for a while. Discover a major in the left. I much prefer my position here. Down 2 sergeants, but I have information on these 2 majors. Scout that. Find a sergeant there. Worst possible piece to scout. But I get it. Get back the sergeant. And I decide if I go this way, he comes up. He is a colonel. He can trap it. It just gets sloppy. So I decided let's just dump it in here. And I know this isn't something I really like to do because I'm telling him I have a colonel or a general, or maybe even a marshal. Even though marshal is less so because it's not really very good to take to lose captain and take with marshal for a major. So I'm saying colonel or general. One of these pieces, uh, and he pursues, and he actually takes it, which is interesting. Um, it's not how I like to play, but it's definitely valid. One player that likes to take for info like this is Broken Clock, who's obviously one of the very best players. So it's definitely respectable. It's not a bad move. A lot of lower players will just take for info for the heck of it because they have no idea what they're doing. But uh, yeah, don't do it if you're a lower player. Just play fundamental. Don't do uh, just preserve your high pieces and try to get reads on the setups. Don't sacrifice. But for Hielco, obviously knows what he's doing, so it's reasonable. Takes. And he scouts the lieutenant. I decide to fire a scout of my own there, hoping to get um, hoping to get a scout. No, we find a lieutenant though. Now I take. Hmm, come. I'll scout minor. Nothing doing there. I'm figuring this piece is a captain, and it is. So I wasn't expecting a third major or colonel since he was just letting me scout it. Coming up with this, he gives me the minor, takes, moves over with the lieutenant, scout that. I'm just trying to get information so that I can, at some point, advance the game. Comes out with the no lieutenant. Of course, I will retreat on that. It's interesting that he called that. But I guess I already showed two captains on that side, so and he probably didn't expect a major to just be there. Moving over, trying to get the general into the center of the board. Going with that piece, takes lieutenant. Scouts. I would be willing to sack the captain, the trade generals. If he did that, we would go into a position where I would have the informational advantage, knowing three lieutenants and the major, and having a pretty reasonable call, and this being a decent piece. Um, I would have that, and major against two captains is usually decent because you have very good chances of picking up material with that major advantage. Um, and so it's likely going to turn into just straight major against captain, or major and two lieutenants against two captains. So you have much more flexibility and margin for error if you're up the major rather than the two captains. So I felt comfortable allowing that, and obviously, if Marshall takes, I have a lot of. There's a lot I can do with moving the general around, trying to attack on this right side. So yeah, I felt comfortable. I pursue. He moves his piece up. I'm really suspecting this to be like a colonel or something. Maybe colonel, general, marshal, or something. Um, those trade. Come up with the known lieutenant. Coming out with this colonel. I'm trying to say that the colonel's a weak piece. Uh, I think I come out with it later. He's also trying to say that this piece is good. I'm assuming colonel. I don't think you would leave a general or marshal out like this, so I'm thinking it's a colonel. These are just my in-thought games, by the way. In-game thoughts. Um, I'm obviously I know what this piece is because I already played the game, but I'm just telling you what I was thinking while playing. Does this? I decide not to take. I'm thinking that this piece is going to be pretty weak, and remember I'm still trying to sell. This is a weak piece. I'll take, and it's a scout. This is my cause. Now to be like a general marshal, we trade here. Moves out, I move back. If he pursues, I'll take. Oh wow, I won't take. Interesting. Okay, yeah, this is right. I was still trying to bluff this as pretty weak. So, and it ended up being a sergeant, so that was very good. He obviously forgot this lieutenant. I come up with the captain trying to target this. If he moves this major at any point, I will take the lieutenant. Comes up with this piece. I'm thinking it's probably a colonel or something like that. I this is a bad bluff. Uh, he already knows a colonel. I hit down. It's a colonel, so that's decent. Now I do have very good information on him, though. Know these two majors and this colonel, and he doesn't know my marshal. It hasn't even moved yet. I also have a pretty decent call on this being a strong piece. So yeah, hits the colonel, which is fine. Kind of indifferent on trading here, so I just let him decide. Now I decide to trade for. I don't know what the difference was really, but this is really starting to look like a good piece. Trying to get this, trying to get information with the sergeant. So, that's fine. It just allows me to have another call on a because he's going to have to put pieces around the captain, and based on how he does that, it'll be. He also gives me a free lieutenant here, which is nice. Um, yeah, and like I was talking about earlier, it turned into this position, which is very advantageous. Uh, Up a major and two lieutenants, and I have all this mid-range information, which frankly so does he. He probably is in a better informational position. But why is my position better? That's actually a good question. Hmm. I liked this during the game. Why did I like it though? I'm slightly better in material wise, but I've given up so much more information. Uh, I do like the unmoved third row marshal. I think that's going to be invaluable later in the game. I don't know. I guess I thought I had some sense about I was that I was doing better in the game than position would indicate. Well, he does that. Back. Move up. I'm thinking that this piece is might be decent, so I decide to threaten with the marshal, and it's just a minor. So that's actually. Did that lieutenant take the sergeant too? I think it might have. Did that same lieutenant take the sergeant? Yep, that's the same lieutenant that took the sergeant. And it's the same lieutenant that. What else did that lieutenant take? Okay, so that lieutenant got a scout, a sergeant, and a minor. So that's a very good lieutenant. It just shows you how difficult it is to keep track of everything. Even the very best players uh, will make stupid memory errors. Go over here and takes. Okay, come over with coming up with the scout. Um, Trying to get something done. Also, just a rule of thumb: you don't want to go down another. You never want to go down three captains unless you're up two higher pieces. So I'm willing to go down that captain if I'm able to take. Uh, Also interesting, he's threatening here. But he allows me to scout this, which is my call on the marshal. So I scout, and it's the spy. So that's actually tremendous. Threatens, and I take. And now the piece said I couldn't lose earlier now is not that important. So this captain, uh, I will take whatever this piece moves down. I'm thinking it's the general, but I really don't want to risk if it's a marshal or if it's just a bluff piece. So I take, and it is the general, just like I thought. Now my objective is to trade this, move the spy back, down, marshal down, up, colonel back, threatens, scouts, move up because he can't move all the way back because I'll threaten both pieces. Spy up. Major over just in case that's a minor. Marshal coming over. Threatens over. Marshal up. General down. General comes down. Moves up. Marshal down. Trades. And now we're completely winning and he hits a bomb. He had no real way to defend the position, down 2 majors. So that losing the spy was the beginning of the end for him. He just didn't have much offense in the center, and it was so bad that he felt like he needed to lotto this piece. So over, down, takes, minor. And now, especially having 3 minors, he really doesn't have much hope here. I'm looking to trap this captain. I can actually, in this position, since I'm up 2 lieutenants, I really can't afford. Okay, I hit there. Find a. Since I'm up 2 lieutenants, I really can't afford to lose a major. So, I'll come up, try to trap this. Even if like this is a, well, we just figured out the colonel, but if this is the marshal, I'm still completely fine. So that's going. My 2 objectives: 1 are to trade colonels, 2 to trap the captains. And of course, I will pursue the first obligation first. Come over. Over. And he'll just let me. But I do actually blunder here, allowing him to take the spy. Very silly mistake, but whatever. Takes. Over. Down. Takes. Up. There. I'm not buying this back row piece for a second as the marshal. I'm thinking the marshal's one of these guys. Immediately suspect. Okay, and that's a scout. So I want to come up with the lieutenant. Cutting off this piece. Now going to trap the captain. He's going to make me go all the way to the corner, which is completely fine. Moves down, and now this lieutenant has taken taken 2 sergeants, a minor, and a scout. Just a tremendous lieutenant. And he finally dies at the marshal. Hielco needs to lotto here, but there's really nothing he can do. He can take a minor and then hit a bomb. Comes over with the scout. Scouts the minor. I'll cut off this piece, take the captain, then I'll cut off this piece. He'll go into the bomb at some point. Trap now. Goes into the bomb, and that's it. So, very good win for me. I was very happy with how I played. Um, the key thing was me getting a spy. After that, things just completely fell apart for him. Um, yeah, not a whole lot else to say. Um, thanks to you all for watching. I'll see you soon. Just last note is Barrage Championships should be extremely good competition. Um, we Broken Clock versus Nortrum this round. Uh, Obviously, two exceptional good normal players and Barrage players. And I'll play whoever's in a higher position after those games. Yeah, I'd suggest you tune into that. Also, other note, if you're in this tournament, don't play in it. It's a complete joke tournament. Zach's done a good job with the organizing he's done, but Sorrow is a complete clown, and you have to. I'm Sorrow refuses to give a reason for kicking me and Frosty out of the tournament, and yet he was going to play me the very next day. The tournament organizer kicking out a player who he is the vast underdog against. Sorrow will probably win that game against me 15% of the time on a good day. Kicking me out of the tournament the day before he has to play that game, which will give him his second loss and take away any chances of him winning the tournament. And then switching to a format where he has a far better chance. That's wild. I mean, if I were, if this were flipped and I was one of these players, I wouldn't be caught dead playing in this tournament after what Sarah pulled. So yeah, just kind of annoying to end on that note after a very good game and citing the excellent Barrage tournament. But I really have to say it. If you're in this tournament, leave, please. Hopefully we can throw Sarah out of the NASF and actually move forward for USA Stratego, but this tournament's a joke. It's not even official anymore, I don't think, and it won't be counted on the podium. So thanks to you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.